In this video, I am going to be wrapping a gift. Now, I have been watching YouTube videos of how to wrap a fancy gift, and I am terrible at wrapping gifts. So let's just make that clear. I don't know what I'm doing. This is all just we're going to see what happens. So as I'm making sure that this paper isn't too big, and they do tend to they seem to make a big deal about making sure they're not using too much paper, which I've never really, this is probably why I'm bad at wrapping presents. And the first time I tried this, I completely forgot what I was supposed to be doing. And I ended up just wrapping the present the way that I have always done it. Now, you notice I'm using a Kleenex box. This is not a gift. This is just a test. But so anyway, I had to go back and watch. And one thing I realized is that they do a lot of editing on those videos where they're wrapping gifts in a very fancy way. I don't see them taping things to the box like I just did, but really that's the only way that I could get this thing to hold still and not wiggle around. So I'm wrapping it. You kind of you put it here like 2/3 up. There's a little bit that folds over the top, and instead of doing it the way that I would normally do it, you do it from the side. So here we go. I'm folding this in. The paper is moving all around. It's just a mess. And honestly, I don't know what happened over here. And you'll see the first fold goes okay. There we go. That's all right. Now the second one, it looks a little weak and wimpy compared to that. So I don't know what's going on. And I think that I just had it over. See, the box is over a little bit to the left. It needs to really be centered in the middle of this gift wrap paper. So that's one thing is they don't tell you this stuff, but you really have to have everything centered because I could fold. Look, this first one I could fold. That went well. Okay, I'm still kind of adjusting this because that's a mess. And you have to have everything lined up pretty well. So that actually went well. I'm optimistic now. This is looking good. Okay, however, this one is so short compared to the one on the right that it's not going to fold over. And sure enough, as I folded this here, it doesn't line up. It's too short. I don't know what. So I'm like, okay, let's start over. And I'm going to cut this off the box because I did tape it to the box so the paper wouldn't wiggle around. And let's start with having the box exactly in the middle and just be conscious of that. So if you're going to do this, just make sure that everything is right in the middle and then do it. Okay, so fold this up a little bit farther. I had it down a little bit lower, so I folded this up a little bit farther. And again, I'm going to tape that in place. I don't have 18 hands. Like I said, they do a lot of editing on those videos on YouTube, let me tell you. So first you fold in like up the right side and press that. Very good. And then you have to fold this. Now make sure that you're folding the paper right up against the box because if it's not, you're going to have to end up folding it again, which probably I'm going to have to do that. This also takes a long time. It's not fast. So if you have the leisure to wrap and fold this stuff like this is origami basically, then have at it. It makes a very nice looking gift wrap, but this is not something for somebody who's got 20 little kids running around, not necessarily 20, but even one. It's going to be hard to do if you've got any other kind of time constraint. Okay, but look, this is going pretty well now. And because I had this a little bit farther over, this flap actually does fit. I am very impressed with myself at this point. So now we're going to go to the double-sided tape. This seems to be the key to all of these videos, that they have lots of double-sided tape that they love to use. Now, double-sided tape is great, except I am going to tape this in place because, like I said, I don't have 18 hands. And double-sided tape is great, except that it sticks to itself and everything that it touches. Okay, so I'm going to fold this down so that it's a lovely folded edge and not just a raw paper edge. And then you're supposed to put the double-sided tape on the paper and then peel the strip off and very delicately and gently fold it over so that it all attaches and there's no like raw paper edge. So it all looks lovely and nice. Okay, so first you've got to figure out how to peel this stuff off because it's stuck to the paper and you just have to get that edge, pull that up. And now what I realize is that it's not only sticking to the paper, it's sticking to my fingers and it ripped right off and it started tearing the paper. Fantastic, because the paper was so short that I can't really fix that. Like I could, if there was more paper, I could cut it off and fold it again, but no. So now I've got to do this. I've got to figure, and it's still sticking to my hands. So that's the one thing with double-sided tape is it sticks to everything. Just be aware of that. But look, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm impressed with myself at this point. And now I just have to do this bottom part. Now, I don't remember how they did the bottom part in the videos that I watched. So I'm just going to do it the same way that I fold, like, I wrap a normal present and try to make it look nice. And the one thing that I did notice in all these videos is that they try to get all of the folds on the paper to match up with the edge of the box. And that way it kind of like disguises the fold a little bit. But I'm just going to fold this over. Now, see, I am folding it over to get that nice clean edge, right? So it's not like the raw paper point from that fold. This time I cut it off of the roll, and I'm just going to peel this off. And instead of trying to make it stick to the box like I did the last time it stuck to my fingers, I think I decided to kind of move the box. Yeah, see, I'm just going to move the box. I'm not going to try to make that stick, but look, it looks so nice. So now I've got a flat edge here. It looks very cute. And these little pockets worked real well. So you could take something, I think I was looking around for something to put in the pockets. But you could take like a little note card or something. I couldn't find anything. You just stick them down inside the pockets. People put like little sprigs of holly. It's very festive. It's very cute. And I'm pretty impressed with myself, even though it took 10 times longer than I thought.